The encounter in the ruins. The ruins were silent, broken stones lying under the dim sky, as if the world had forgotten how to breathe. Smoke rose slowly from the black ground, carrying the memory of a war that had ended too late. Among the rubble, an alien walked alone. He was tall, thin, and scarred. His armor was cracked, his eyes tired, and his heart heavier than the ruined city around him. He was an outcast, rejected even by his own kind. Once he had been a warrior, strong and proud, but betrayal and loss had thrown him away like dust in the wind. His people hated him, the humans feared him, and so he wandered without home, without family, without purpose. He thought nothing could surprise him anymore. He thought his story was already finished. But then, he heard a sound. A small voice. It was not the shout of a soldier, not the cry of a wounded fighter. It was soft, trembling, almost like a dream. The alien froze. His sharp ears caught the sound again. It was the voice of a child. He turned slowly, scanning the ruins. Out of the smoke came a little figure. A girl, no more than 7 or 8 years old, walked carefully over the broken ground. Her hair was messy, her dress torn and covered in dust. She carried a broken doll in her hands, its face cracked, its arm missing. Her eyes were wide, but not with fear. The alien stepped back. He expected her to scream. He expected her to run, but she did not. She looked up at him, her small face serious, almost brave. "You need a home," she whispered, her voice soft but steady. The alien blinked. His mind could not understand. No human child had ever spoken to him without fear, without hate. "You need a home," she repeated. Then her lips curved into the faintest smile. "My father needs a wife. I need a mother." Her words fell like thunder in his chest. He stood frozen, staring at her as if she had spoken magic. And he had been called many things, traitor, exile, monster, but never had anyone offered him a home. The alien tried to speak, but no sound came. His voice had been strong once, but now it trembled. Finally he managed to whisper, "Why do you speak to me?" The little girl hugged her broken doll close. "Because you are alone," she said simply, "and so are we." The alien felt a strange pain in his chest. Not the kind from battle wounds, but something deeper. A wound he had buried long ago. The ruins around them groaned as the wind passed through broken walls. Shadows moved in the distance. Danger was never far. Yet this little girl stood as if nothing could touch her, as if she believed the alien would protect her. He wanted to turn away. He wanted to leave before soldiers or hunters appeared, but he could not. Her words had chained him. For the first time in years, he felt something heavy inside his heart shift. "Your father," the alien said slowly. "He will not want me near." The girl shook her head. "My father listens to me," she said with surprising certainty. "And I know you are not bad." The alien looked down at his scarred hands. His claws had destroyed, his arms had killed, his eyes had seen too much blood. "Not bad?" he whispered bitterly. "Little one, I am an outcast. Even my people left me." The girl stepped closer. Her small hand reached out and touched his arm. He froze again, not because of fear, but because of the warmth in her touch. "My mother is gone," the girl said softly. "My father cries at night. I hear him. He tries to hide it. But I know. He needs someone to stand with him. I need someone to hold me. And you need us." Her words were too much. His chest tightened. His throat burned. He had not cried in years, not since the day he was thrown out from his clan. But now, standing before this fragile human child, he felt tears trying to rise. For a long time, silence fell between them. The alien looked at her doll, at her brave eyes. She did not lie. She did not hate. She simply wanted a family. Then, suddenly, the ground shook. A distant roar echoed across the ruins. The alien stiffened. He knew that sound. His old kind were near. Hunters, soldiers. If they found him with a human child, they would kill them both without mercy. The girl gasped, clutching her doll tighter. She looked up at him with frightened eyes for the first time. "Will you leave me?" she asked. The alien's mind raced. He had spent his life running, hiding, surviving alone. But now, for the first time, he faced a choice: leave the girl and escape, or protect her and risk death. The child's voice trembled. "Please, don't go." The alien's claws tightened, his eyes burning. For the first time in years, he found his answer. "I will not leave you," he said. And in that moment, the outcast realized his story was not finished. It was only beginning. The Hidden Bond. The ruins grew darker as the sun fell behind broken towers. The alien outcast stood tall, his eyes fixed on the horizon where the roar had come from. He knew it well. His kind were near, hunters who would not rest until he was dead. And if they saw him with the girl, they would show no mercy to her either. The little girl clutched her doll close, her wide eyes searching his face. She was afraid now, but her voice still carried courage. "Are they coming?" she whispered. "Yes," the alien said, his voice low and rough. "They will come soon." The girl swallowed hard. "Then we must hide. Come with me." For a moment he wanted to refuse. He was danger, hated, unwanted. To stay with her meant bringing danger closer. But when her small hand reached for his, something inside him broke. He could not turn away. Not this time. She pulled him through narrow alleys of stone, past burned walls and broken windows. The alien followed, his long steps careful not to crush the rubble beneath. He was silent, but his heart beat faster than in any battle. They stopped inside a ruined house. Its roof was gone, but the walls still stood. In one corner, a blanket lay on the ground. Beside it, a cracked lantern and half-eaten bread. This was the child's hiding place. "You live here?" he asked, his deep voice full of disbelief. She nodded. "When soldiers fight, we hide here. My father searches for food. I wait." The alien's eyes softened. This fragile child alone in the ruins, waiting for a father who might never return. He thought of his own past, how his clan had abandoned him, how he had wandered without warmth, without family. In her words, he saw his own story reflected. The girl looked at him closely. "Why are they hunting you? You are one of them, aren't you?" His chest tightened. He had never told anyone, not even himself, the truth in words. But now, her innocent question forced him to remember. "I was one of them," he said slowly. "A soldier. I fought their wars, but I would not kill the innocent. So they cast me out. They call me traitor. Now, I am nothing." The girl tilted her head, her small brow furrowing. "You are not nothing," she said simply. The alien blinked. Her words hit him harder than any blade. He had been told he was worthless, cursed, broken. Yet this child with her broken doll and torn dress saw him differently. "Why do you trust me?" he asked, almost begging for an answer. She smiled softly. "Because when I looked in your eyes, I did not see a monster. I saw someone lonely, like us." The alien turned his face away. His chest ached. He was not used to such words. But before he could speak, the sound of footsteps echoed outside. Heavy, sharp, too many to count. The hunters were here. The girl gasped, pressing against the wall. The alien rose to his full height, his claws ready, his body tense. His mind screamed to escape, but his heart whispered something new. Protect her. The door creaked. Shadows moved outside. Strange voices, cruel and sharp, filled the air. "Find him," one hissed. "The outcast hides in these ruins. Kill him. Leave nothing behind." The alien looked down at the girl. Her small hands shook, but her eyes begged him not to leave. He crouched low, his voice barely a whisper. "Stay silent. Do not move." She nodded, holding her doll tight to her chest. The hunters entered the house next door. The alien heard the crash of boots, the tearing of wood. They were searching every corner. Soon, they would come here. His claws dug into the stone floor. He could kill them, yes. He was stronger than most. But if he fought here, the girl would be caught in the storm. She would die. The alien closed his eyes. A plan formed in his mind. Dangerous, almost foolish, but the only way. He would draw them away. He leaned close to the girl. "I will leave," he whispered. "I will lead them far from you." "No," she whispered back, tears filling her eyes. "They will kill you. Please, don't go." Her words shook him. No one had ever cared for his life before, and yet this little girl begged him to live. He looked into her eyes, and for the first time in many years he felt the weight of choice. Alone he could escape, but with her he could be something greater than a fugitive. The hunters' voices grew louder. They were near. The alien's decision burned inside him. He would not run. He would not abandon her. Rising slowly, he positioned himself between the door and the girl. His shadow covered her small body. His claws flexed, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The girl whispered, her voice trembling but full of trust. "You will protect me, won't you?" The alien nodded once, until my last breath. The door slammed open. The hunters stormed inside. Their eyes met his, and their weapons raised. The alien's chest rumbled with a growl, low and powerful. For the first time in years, he was not fighting for survival. He was fighting for someone else. The girl clutched her doll and held her breath. And the battle began. The father's doubt. The night was long. Smoke drifted over the ruins, carrying the stench of battle. The alien outcast stood in silence, his body bruised, his armor cracked, yet still he lived. Around him lay the hunters, their weapons broken, their blood dark against the stones. He had fought like a storm, fast, merciless, unstoppable. But this fight was not like the others he had survived. This time, he had fought not to save himself, but to shield a child. The little girl crawled out from behind the broken wall, clutching her doll. Her eyes were wide, not with fear, but with awe. "You saved me," she whispered. The alien breathed heavily, his chest rising and falling like a drum. He turned his gaze down to her. "You are safe," he said, though his voice was rough and low. She stepped closer and touched his scarred hand without hesitation. Her tiny fingers against his claws felt impossibly soft. "You are not like them," she said. Her words burned into his heart. He wanted to believe them. He wanted to hold on to them. But deep inside, a shadow whispered, "What happens when her people see you? What happens when her father sees you?" The girl tugged his hand. "Come with me," she said. "My father will understand." The alien froze. He had fought armies, survived betrayals, endured exile, yet the thought of facing a human father filled him with dread. What father would ever allow an alien outcast near his daughter? What man would trust a monster with the child he loved most? Still, the girl's eyes left no room for escape. Against every instinct, he followed her. They walked through narrow alleys and across broken ground until the smoke cleared, revealing a cluster of huts hidden among the stones. Fires burned low in pits, casting faint light on human faces, tired, wary, hardened by war. The alien stiffened. The humans froze when they saw him. Mothers pulled children back. Men reached for rusted weapons. Fear and hatred filled the air. The girl, unshaken, raised her voice. "It's okay. He saved me." Her words broke the silence, but not the tension. The alien felt their eyes stab into him like blades. He saw nothing but suspicion in their stares. Then a tall man stepped forward. His beard was rough, his clothes torn, and his shoulders carried the weight of too many battles. His eyes locked on the alien, cold and sharp. The girl ran to him. "Father!" She hugged his legs tightly. "He saved me, Papa." The hunters came, and he fought them all. If not for him, I would be gone. The man's jaw tightened. His hand rested on the hilt of his blade, but he did not draw it. His eyes shifted from the girl to the alien. "Is this true?" he asked, his voice like stone breaking. The alien straightened, his scarred face unreadable. "Yes," he said. The father studied him in silence. The villagers muttered. Some shouted for the alien to be cast out. Others demanded he be killed before more of his kind came. The girl's voice trembled but remained strong. "No, he is not like them. He is different." The father looked down at her, his expression torn. "Child, you do not understand. He is one of them. His kind brought us death." The girl's eyes filled with tears. "But he saved me. Doesn't that matter?" The alien felt her words pierce the air like arrows. He had faced many battles, but none so dangerous as this one, standing before a father who saw him as the enemy, yet knowing the truth the little girl carried. The man's eyes met his again, searching deep, as if to see whether this alien was a monster or something else. For a long moment, silence reigned. Finally, the father spoke, his voice low but heavy with doubt. "If you mean no harm, then prove it." The alien tilted his head. "Prove? You saved her once," the father said. "But words mean nothing here. Trust is earned with sacrifice. If you truly wish to stay near my daughter, then you will fight for this village as if it were your own." The villagers gasped. Some protested, others nodded. The alien said nothing. His heart thundered. He had not been offered a place, only a trial. Yet it was more than he had ever been given. The girl tugged her father's arm. "Papa, please. He needs a home, and we need him." The father's face softened for a moment as he looked at her, but when his gaze returned to the alien, it was steel again. "Tomorrow, raiders will come. They always come. If you are what she says, then stand with us. If you fail, you will die with us. And if you run, then you are truly nothing." The alien felt the weight of the man's words. For years he had lived as nothing, but now he was being offered a chance, dangerous, fragile, yet real. The girl's eyes shone with trust, the father's eyes burned with doubt, and the alien stood between them, caught in the storm of a choice that could change everything. As the night closed in and whispers spread through the village, the alien outcast looked to the stars above. For the first time in his life, he was not just hunted, he was being tested. And deep in his heart, a voice whispered, "This is where your true battle begins." The trial of trust. The night was restless. No one in the village slept. The fires burned low, and the people whispered among themselves. Some sharpened their spears. Others packed their few belongings, ready to run if things turned dark. The alien sat alone near the edge of the camp, his back straight, his eyes watching the horizon. He had been in many battles before, but never like this. This time, he was not fighting for a commander or a clan. This time, he was fighting for a child's faith. The little girl came to him quietly, carrying her broken doll. She sat beside him without fear. "They don't trust you," she said softly. "I know," the alien answered, his deep voice calm. She leaned her head on his arm, like he was already family. "But I do." Her words struck him like a blade, not of pain, but of truth. He looked at her fragile frame and wide eyes, and he felt something he had long buried, the desire to protect, not because of duty, but because of love. The father watched from a distance. His arms were crossed, his face carved in stone. He was testing the alien, waiting to see if his actions matched the little girl's trust. The villagers murmured, divided between fear and hope. Dawn broke. The air was heavy with silence until the ground began to shake. Dust rose on the horizon. The raiders were coming. Dozens of them, wild men, scavengers armed with rusted blades, stolen guns, and savage hunger in their eyes. They descended on the village like wolves. The humans raised their weak defenses, wooden barricades, sharpened sticks, a few old rifles. Fear gripped them, but they stood ready, because they had no other choice. The alien stepped forward, his tall figure casting a long shadow. His claws flexed, his scars glowing faintly in the morning light. The villagers stared. This was the moment. Would he run? Would he betray them? The father's voice came through the air. Now we see what you are. The raiders roared and charged. The alien moved. He was a storm unleashed. His speed shocked the villagers. He tore through the raiders' front line, claws cutting, body striking like a beast of war. Every blow was precise, every move protecting the humans behind him. Bullets grazed his armor, blades sliced his skin, but he did not fall. The little girl watched with wide eyes from behind the barricade. She saw him take every hit, but he did not retreat. He fought like he belonged to them, like the village was his own blood. A raider broke through and rushed toward the girl. Her scream pierced the air. The alien turned at once. He threw himself between her and the attacker, his body a wall of flesh and steel. The raider's blade sank into the alien's side. Blood spilled dark and hot, but the alien did not fall. With one strike, he crushed the raider to the ground. He knelt before the girl, his body shaking, his breath heavy. "You are safe," he whispered, even as pain burned through him. The father saw it. The villagers saw it. The alien had taken the wound for her, a wound that could kill him. Yet still, he rose again, staggering but unbroken. The battle raged on. The alien led the fight, his roars shaking the raiders. The humans, inspired by his courage, struck harder, shouted louder, and for the first time in years, they felt hope. Finally, the last raider fell. Silence swept the field. The village stood, broken but alive. The alien collapsed to his knees, blood pouring from his side. He leaned against the wall, his claws trembling. The villagers gathered around, unsure whether to help or to fear him still. The father stepped forward, his eyes once filled with doubt, now burned with something else: respect. He looked at the alien who had nearly given his life for his daughter and his people. The alien's voice was weak but steady. "She gave me a family," he said, his breath ragged. "I could not let her down." The father's face softened. The villagers lowered their weapons. For the first time, they saw not a monster, not an outcast, but a protector. The little girl ran to him, tears in her eyes. She hugged him tightly, whispering, "I knew you wouldn't leave me." The alien closed his eyes. His body was weak, his blood hot, but in her arms, he felt something stronger than pain. For the first time in his life, he felt home. A home, at last. The village was silent after the battle. Smoke rose from burned carts, and the cries of the wounded echoed faintly in the air. The alien outcast lay against the wall, his body torn, blood dark across his side. He had given everything, his strength, his blood, his very life, for humans who had once feared him. The little girl knelt beside him, clutching his arm. Her small hands trembled, but her voice was firm. "Don't close your eyes. You can't leave me. Not now." The alien's chest rose and fell in heavy breaths. His eyes, dim with pain, looked down at her. "I am still here," he whispered. The father stood close, his eyes fixed on the alien who had risked everything for his daughter. For the first time he felt not hatred, not fear, but gratitude. He crouched down, his voice steady. "You saved her life. You saved all of us." The alien gave a weak laugh, low and rough. "Not for them," he said. "For her." His eyes lingered on the girl, who pressed her face against his chest as if afraid he would vanish. The father's heart tightened. He had seen soldiers come and go, men betray one another, monsters kill without thought. But this alien, an outcast, unwanted by his own kind, had bled more for his people in one day than many humans had in years. Days passed. The alien's wounds were deep, but he did not die. The humans who once feared him began to tend to him. Women cleaned his wounds, Men brought water. Children whispered his name in awe. Slows. Lie. Their fear turned into something else. Respect. But not everyone accepted him. Some still whispered that he was dangerous. Some still feared that his kind would return for him. The alien felt their eyes, heavy with suspicion, and knew the path ahead would never be easy. One night, as the fires burned low, the father sat beside him. Silence stretched between them before the man finally spoke. "You have proven yourself, but there will be more battles, more raiders, and your kind may still come for you. If you stay here, it will not be easy." The alien nodded slowly. His voice was steady. "I have no home, no family, until now. If danger comes, then I will face it here." The father studied him in silence, then gave a single nod. It was not full trust, not yet, but it was the beginning of something stronger. The next morning, the little girl ran to him with a smile that could cut through the ruins of the world. She carried a flower in her hand, small, fragile, growing between cracks of stone. She tucked it into the broken strap of his armor. "This is yours," she said, "because you belong here now." The alien stared at the flower. His claws, made for war, touched it gently. Something stirred inside him, something he had not felt in years. Hope. The villagers gathered that day. For the first time, they did not look at him with only fear. The father stood before them, his daughter's hand in his own. His voice carried over the crowd. "This alien is no enemy. He is no monster. He is family now." The crowd murmured. Some nodded. Some still doubted. But no one raised their weapons. The little girl's voice rose bright and clear. "He saved us! He is my friend!" And in that moment, the alien realized this was what he had fought for. Not just survival, not just escape, but belonging. That night, as the stars burned above, the alien sat with the girl and her father by the silent fire. For the first time in years, he did not feel the cold of loneliness. The little girl leaned against him, her doll resting on her lap, her voice soft. "You need a home," she whispered again. "My father needs a wife. I need a mother." She giggled, as if repeating the words of a dream. The alien's chest ached, but not from wounds, from something deeper, something warmer. He looked at the father, who met his gaze with quiet understanding. For now, words were not needed. The little girl yawned and curled up against him, falling asleep under the blanket of stars. The alien's claws, once stained with blood, rested gently on her shoulder. He had been a weapon, an exile, an outcast, but now, in this small circle of light, he was something more. He was protector, he was family, he was home. And though the future promised more battles, more shadows, more storms, the alien knew one truth with unshakable certainty. He would never leave them, not until his last breath.